Well, today we're gonna do a really quick run through on how to fix a flat tire. This is a pain in the butt for everybody whenever it happens, and usually it's on the back wheel. So I purposefully wanted to grab a bike with a flat on the rear so that we go through some of the intricacies, because it's actually a little bit tougher than fixing a flat on the front. So the first thing you wanna do to take the wheel out of the frame, you're gonna need to free it away from the brakes. These kind of work like a Chinese finger trap. You have to push them in order to have it release. So I push these calipers towards each other. You can see that little brake noodle kind of comes away and it just kind of fits in and out of there. So I'm gonna have that out. That's gonna free my brake pads out away from the wheel so that I can pop it out of the frame. The other thing to remember with a rear wheel, it's easiest to work with when the chain is all the way down in the smallest ring. So I'm gonna go ahead and shift that down. And now I'm in a good position. I can pull my quick release and that wheel should basically just fall right out of the frame. From that point, all I'm gonna need is a tire lever and a pump. So we've already got a flat tire. I'm gonna work this underneath one side of the bead and just pull it right around. If you feel like this is tight, then you might need a second one of these. For the most part, you usually can get away with one. And then one other kind of little hack, you don't always have to take the tire all the way off the rim. I usually will take off just one side. I'll find where that valve stem is, pull that out. You can actually remove the old tube. And what I'm gonna do is grab our fresh one out of the box. I like to give them just a little bit of shape so that they're easier to manipulate. So I won't pump it up a ton, just enough to get a little bit of that circular action. And what I can do is feed it back in. Now, one step that you don't usually want to skip is I'll first run my hand through, and I'll also look on the bottom here. And I'm just kind of giving a visual inspection and an inspection with my fingers. I want to make sure that there's nothing stuck on the inside of the tire, because it'd be a pain to swap your tube and then it immediately goes flat again. But I think we're in good shape with this tire, so I'm going to find my valve hole, get my new tube, fit it right on through there. And then I'm just gonna feed it right underneath the bead of the tire all the way around. Once I've got it in there, I'll start at the valve stem, start feeding that bead back onto the rim. And this is where it'll take a little bit of finger strength. If you start to notice it getting tight like this, I'll go ahead and let just a little bit of air out of that tube, and you see how it's becoming more malleable. So now I've got it all the way back on. I'm gonna wanna reinflate. Get my valve cap on there.
All tires will say it on the side what PSI it needs, right?
Yes, it will. And then I'm just gonna line up my gears with the drive side of the bike. The whole process that I went through for removing it, we're just gonna do the opposite of that now. Feed it around the gears. You'll notice that I've got one side of the chain underneath the cassette and one above.
Is it still on that small ring?
Yes, it is. And I'll go ahead and feed it into there. And once you get this quick release, tighten back on. All you gotta do is re-engage your brake with, if you remember, it's just like that Chinese finger trap. Push them in, feed the brake noodle in there, and now you're good to go.
Boom.